Considering chapter control and coordination for class 10th, we have already discussed phototropism and geotropism in these videos, which I'll share the link in the description box. Subscribe to the channel right now, follow it for more part that we are going to study the continued portion of the same chapter. We have talked about phototropism, that is the response of the plants towards light, how the plant parts are responding towards light. If you talk about the shoot, that is showing a positive phototropism, the roots are showing the negative phototropism because they are not moving towards the light, so it's negative. Similarly, if we talk about geotropism, the shoots show negative geotropism because it is not growing towards the earth, that is the soil, inside deeper darker areas it is not going. Now similarly, there are other processes like chemotropism. Chemotropism means response towards the chemicals, how the plants give a response towards the example chemicals. If you talk about chemotropism, if you see the growth of a pollen tube towards the ovule, then that shows chemotropism, because while the fertilization occurs in the plants and a new a seed is to be formed, the fruit is to be formed, the plant needs to reproduce further. So for that there are a number of chemicals which are reacting, and for that there is a reaction, that is the movement of the pollen tube. The pollen grain develops a tube which moves towards the ovule. Another example can be hydrotropism, how the plants respond towards water. Many kinds of responses which a plant gives towards the various factors around. Now, if you see even animals, if you see your fingers, if you see your face, if you see your hand, if you see your hair, leg, they are all growing. They are growing in a certain movement, they are growing in a certain direction, in a certain prescribed way, and just not randomly anywhere. Have you ever seen that randomly, if you see that your body all of a sudden starts growing any organ, it is only certain cases. It is not for everybody because it is very, very unnatural. It is not natural. It is some kind of defect or some kind of change. So it is not natural. So when we are talking about natural responses, that how the body responds, it is particular. It is all controlled, and how they are able to communicate with each other, that what kind of response is to be given. They are communicating by impulses, and when we are talking about electrical impulses, then there are certain things which are fixed. It has limitations. Firstly, the electrical impulses can be only transferred from one nerve to another. They are by the nerves. They are connected by the nervous tissues. So when one of the thing is generated, it transfers the signal to the another. While the second point is, the second limitation is that this mechanism, whatever occurred for a certain reaction, again resets itself, again it gets prepared for the next reaction. So it takes time. There is a certain mechanism, like we are using machinery also takes time to reset and to reperform any function. So similarly, the electrical impulses that are generated also need a time to reset and form another mechanism. If you see, for the same stimulus, whenever a stimulus is generated around you, for the same stimulus, you take a different action in different moments. So it also happens in the same way inside your body, that for many responses, for many stimulus which are created for the response to be made, there are different kinds of mechanism and reset which is taking inside your nervous system. Now in response to this, there are certain cells also in your body which are producing chemicals, and your body is also reacting towards those chemicals. It is not taken into consideration by the nerves. They are not taken into consideration by the nervous tissue directly. It is released around a particular cell, and from that cell the action needs to be taken place as a different. So when the action needs to be taken at a different part of the body, and the formation of the chemicals take place in the different parts of the body, they need to be traveled. So they are traveling through blood, they are traveling to many other things. Like for example, if you take the case of hormones, so hormones are not taken away by the nervous system or the nerve impulses. They are taken away by other mediums. They are also chemicals which may be released around a cell, and it takes part in the transmission but not with the electrical impulses. So this is also how control and coordination is taking place in the cell, around the cell, and the nervous tissue. And it's the same way this was about the animals. The same way plants also are carrying various functions where the hormones are responsible. They are also releasing chemicals. Like if you ask about a growth of a plant, the auxins are the chemicals which are released in the plant. It is plant hormone, you can say, and it is responsible for the growth of the shoot. So whenever the growth of the shoot needs to take place, this auxin will be generated at the part wherever there is darkness. So wherever there is darkness in the shoot part, it will detect light, and while it detects light, it will move that part towards the light. And similarly, if you want to talk about the growth of the stem, then gibberellins are the hormone, the plant hormone, which are responsible for the growth of the stem. Now there are certain parts which need a very rapid growth. So that rapid growth is promoted by the hormone of the plant, cytokinin. If you talk about fruits, if you talk about seeds, then the growth of this is very fast. When we are talking about such kind of fast growth, cytokinins and the plant hormone are responsible. Now everything is helping to grow. So there should be something to stop also. Otherwise the growth will be very, very fast. So to stop, abscisic acid is produced in the plant, which promotes the inhibition of the growth. Inhibition means stop, the resistance. So when the growth stops, it leads to the wilting. Wilting means to browning or changing of the color, the reduction in the growth. The wilting of the leaves, if you see, the leaves are now weakening. They just wilt, they fall from the plant and they die. That is senescence. So this senescence is also promoted by abscisic acid. So there are various things which are all controlled and coordinated with each other, whether it's plants growth or animals.